The broadcast is starting. This is 2018 episode 3.
3.
The third episode of 2018.
It's February. We've been being very good about
It's the end of February. Yeah.
It's once a month. That's the plan.
Well, this is interesting because that's kind of what this episode's about. Is the difficulties of time management, and what makes it so hard is that so I didn't do my streaming tonight, my video game stream. It's something I want to do once a week for like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I was too tired when I came home.
Yeah.
And it's it's rough because there's so many hours in a week, and there's so much time to do, and there's so many things to be done. Josh Reekins here. Hello, Josh. Welcome. And finding time to do things consistently on a schedule, especially. We have Sunday night gaming. We've got Monday night tractor. We've got Tuesday is basically our day. We've got Wednesday where I normally run the Smash Brothers tournaments and I'm working. Mm-hmm. Thursday where I'm working, and then I want to come home and stream and then do the podcast. So Thursday's a very full day.
Yeah, RuPaul's on Thursday.
RuPaul's on Thursday. That's when I stream. Friday is when we eat lunch with my dad. We usually run a couple errands before we do movie night at the shop. And, of course, Friday's sort of a wild card as well, too. Saturday also is sort of inconsistently busy.
I feel like Saturdays will not be nearly as busy once we finish the house construction.
Ideally, that's true.
That seems to be the day we spend working on that.
I'll probably still be doing events and such as it comes because I'm planning all those things. Mm-hmm. And so on top of the time that I spend doing, extracurricular events for the shop, hello, Ray. She's here, too, on time, as she notes. It's really rough for me to spend time with, so I've got to spend time at the store.
Yeah.
Spend time with friends at events. I sometimes also want to spend time outside of events with friends, which can be difficult. I'm really grateful for people that choose to understand that. Spend time with you, and that still leaves time where I want to spend for myself.
Yeah.
Not obligated to anybody, so I can actually sort of like decompress from handing out spoons to everybody but myself.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't want to do these things or spend time with dozens of other people, you especially.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, it's overwhelming. And I have a very hard time, I know, managing that on top of the fact that there are occasionally times when I feel like I'm not fulfilling people's needs when it comes to time spent. And I feel I've been made to feel guilty about it at times. And that's kind of rough for me because I'm already trying to do so much that when it's sort of presented to me that, hey, that's still not enough. It's like,
I feel as though I should not comment on that or say bad words.
I can do nothing, and this is why I'm extremely grateful to people that I may not see for 2 years. And then the moment we start hanging out again, it's like no time has elapsed.
Yeah.
It's very.
I was talking to Wendy about that.
Yeah. Cause you saw her just a couple days ago, about a week ago, and you guys hung out and we got some food. You guys played, we came to the house and just chatted,
Yeah. She was laughing because when she came by to see me for only about like 45 minutes or something, maybe a little bit longer, but not long, like the next day, she was like, yeah, I feel like we're just at this stage in our friendship where when we haven't seen each other for a long time, we just get right down to brass tacks. Like, how are you really?
Right,
it's not like, we don't want to, I'm good. Oh, this is that. It's just like,
sure.
This happened and this happened and then this happened.
Yeah.
And me, we're just like the back and forth of like really catching up on each other's lives because so much time. I hadn't seen Wendy since July. Before we saw her a couple days ago,
Right.
And I saw her for a couple of hours.
Yeah. Well, she was at your parents' house last year. We stopped by at some point. I saw them for like 40 minutes.
Was that before or after I went to Denver?
I don't remember, to be totally honest.
Because
I think it was before.
Yeah, and so I went to Denver in June.
Yeah.
So.
And so I mean, with that, the thing is, you didn't spend time just, angrily like, why didn't you pay attention for me? It was more like, let's use this time to catch up. Let's utilize this time to recap everything that's happened instead of be upset that why didn't you give me this?
Yes.
There's no better way to be disappointed than having expectations that can't be met, that shouldn't even reasonably be expected to be met.
When you've handed somebody those expectations, you basically
didn't ask for or sign up for.
They didn't ask for it, and you give it to them, and then when they don't fulfill, you hold it against them.
Yeah, that's part of why I got off Facebook at the beginning of last year is because people were
constantly messaging me or expecting time and energy and attention that I didn't have to give, and then angry when I couldn't because my phone broke. And nobody wants to hear, oh, my phone's not working. They think that's just like a cheap excuse.
Yeah, why didn't you go get another phone immediately? Because that's the top priority.
Yeah,
right?
Or that like you're lying about it or something because it's easy to crutch on, but like that actually happened.
Sure.
And my phone really wasn't working, and I felt like I don't know, I got really ticked off because so many people were really mad at me for having a life.
It can be difficult. Yeah, I mean, to sort of explain to people that like it's not you. And oftentimes when somebody sort of like pinpoints you, they're like reaching out with like this one needle saying, hey, like let's make the connection.
Yeah.
Whereas on your sphere of being, there's thousands of needles going out of things that you're trying to do. And it can be difficult to like pinpoint just one, just to zone in on one of them exclusively. And statistically, just somebody's going to, feel neglected. And
I have a lot of people got their feelings hurt.
Sure.
During that period of time.
I have a hard time, trying to explain to people that it's never been anything personal. And I'm behind on emails. I'm behind on text messages. I'm behind on Facebook messages. And it's very great. Ray, I'm always consistently sorry. I feel like I'm constantly trying to play catch up with just dozens of things. And I don't know. I'm not sure what. So the computer's really trying to restart itself, and I think it might do it in the middle of the podcast. So we'll see how that goes. Because
you should just have said, like, you can change the time on it.
Not anymore. It was saying in an hour, okay for the time it suggested, or restart now. It's finally like you can't do this any longer. So we'll see what happens. It might prompt us with one more message. Yeah, or in the middle of the podcast, it might actually just eliminate our voices.
Oh.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Something about that's very apropos considering this conversation.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even the computer's like, John, I've been asking you to do this.
I need your attention.
Please, I've been. So when it comes down to it, I mean, what I'd like to do is talk to people because I know that I have a hard time managing my time. Being spread thin effectively. So I'm really trying to prioritize certain things. Like Tuesday is basically a not work related day. It is a you and me day. It is a hangout day. It is a relaxed day because that's necessary.
Yeah.
Even on Saturday, which is sort of an off day, it's still sort of like open to be able to like give myself an allowance to get things done, whether it's for an event or whether it's, errands, but a moment of genuine respite and actual relaxation is so vital that I need to prioritize at least one day to do that.
Yeah.
And, and I don't mind being busy consistently, but prioritizing between like the spectrum of things that need attention, be it myself, the store, friends, you, animals. I mean, like there's everything that even Revolver acts out because we can't give her the time and attention that she needs.
Which may be a little bit more than is reasonable. But
unfortunately for a cat, it's very tricky, and she's a wonderful animal, and she's currently actually housed with my mom, which is terrific. Because that is actually the current best situation for her. And no matter how many times we've looked into, making her situation here at the house better, it's never proven to work. So we finally said, well, this is the condition under which it is better for everybody.
Well, I think it was important for us to actually genuinely evaluate what was best for her, not just what we wanted, which was her to be here, but not acting out. And that maybe what was best for her was to put her in an environment that was not so stressful.
Sure. And now she's got one other cat to contend with, which she actually is okay with. She's a lot less stressed. My mom says she's been completely affectionate. No more anger peeing or, biting or being like acting out in any way.
I just spent the day combating that anger pee.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Our bedroom smelled strongly of Revolver's bladder. Really, that's,
It's bad.
It is bad because it smells like cat pee, and cat pee smells like ammonia, and ammonia smells like rotten eggs, and rotten eggs smell like sulfur, and like it's a whole, nobody wants to be there.
That's a really complicated way to just say it smells bad.
Well, there's so many people in this world, and they have different experiences of what smells bad. And I feel as if you tap into cat pee, sulfur, and eggs, and ammonia, rotten eggs, somebody's going to recognize at least one of those points if they have not yet experienced cat pee.
Yeah, I've never smelled a rotten egg.
Smell some cat pee. You'll know.
I think they smell different.
You think so? You've never smelled one. Admittedly.
I don't think so. I don't know, because I don't think that the cat pee smells the same as like ammonia.
Yeah. Well,
we did what, Mom?
We
I don't
did what?
understand your time.
Rita pops in and says, "You did," and I don't know what that's referring to because we just said a bunch of things.
I know.
So it could be a number of things. But yeah, something that I wanted to start doing is actually sort of keeping a calendar of events ready for myself, for reasons twofold. And one of them was to actually start planning things for the store. So when people asked me what was going on, I could point them just sort of this direction, sort of keeping things resourceful, keeping something up on our Facebook, up on the website, and up at the clean the carpet.
No, my mom helped me clean the
carpet.
Up
at the Sharp. Oh, yes, absolutely. No, you guys.
Poo-poo that. She was incredibly
helpful. Thank you very much for that. But keeping a calendar of events up, so that way I can look at all the things that I've got going on, sort of plan around that, and look at it and say, well, what time am I generally available? And also to showcase to people that says, if you want to hang out with me, come to an event, because I will be there. Come to movie night, come to game night, come to Tractor, come to, tune into this. And that's the best way for me to actually give myself to anybody who wants some of my time, because otherwise I don't necessarily know how without maybe making like a group of people happen all at once. And I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, you didn't give me alone time, therefore I'm going to resent.
Again, I'm going to try to be as calm as I can in discussing this, because I got very angry recently about that, as you know. I think it's awfully audacious to expect time of people like that, and that it would have to, that it would have to be under a very certain, like, specific set of circumstances and environments to be considered acceptable. Like, it seems like it's already an awful lot trying to take time from someone who's very busy to then expect that time to look a very specific way.
Yeah.
And
I know. Yeah, I know what you're saying, and it
upsets me.
it's tough. It's tough to offer one thing to somebody. Hey, I know you want a cookie, so I finally have the ability to give you a cookie. But then if it's the wrong cookie,
I don't want that kind of cookie.
Then it's like
and how dare you also give that cookie to other people?
Right? Yeah. How dare you share the cookie?
I can't.
Yeah, it can be tricky, and it can be very, very tough to sort of combat, because there's no real good way to put it for a lot of people. Some people have more free time than others. Some people can manage their time better than others. I will admittedly say that I have a hard time managing my spectrum of time. And maybe I just sort of put myself in that position by, allowing all these events and things to happen.
I know. I've been like that. And I remember many times in years past where my trumpet professor used to always be like, you need to learn how to manage time better. And there were moments where I'd be like, I want you to manage my schedule for a second.
Right,
tell me that would be
please tell me. I hope I didn't stress you out with wanting to call Ariel. I think requesting is one thing, but being upset with somebody about it is like the part that's hard to deal with.
Right, like, to answer your question, if it had been like, if when I couldn't that one day, or when things got busy and I was really busy, like, if you had gotten really ticked off at me for that, that would have been a point of stress. But like, you were very understanding and kind.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, it was fine.
I think it's submitting the request, which is completely acceptable. But, holding it against somebody is the part that, like, is not okay to hand somebody, because wanting somebody's attention is totally fine. I want people's attention. I've got a friend, Andrea, who's a really, really great person. I see her every 8 months. And I want to hang out with her all the time because she's super fun. She's super nice. I want to plan events and, like, do things for the store with her, but I almost never see her. And putting that request out there is fine. And I've never gotten mad, but every single time that she said, oh, hey, I finally have time, I don't say, what the hell took you so long? Because, again, that's not like rewarding or like punishing the good behavior. It's, hey, cool, let's do this.
Yeah, I think that like, when in my life, that's really true for, like, my relationship with Wendy and my relationship with Garrett, who Wendy, I think it's different because she lives in another city, so it's something that's easy for us to, like, come to terms with when we go long periods without seeing each other. But, like, Garrett lives in Albuquerque, and we're both just so busy and live on opposite sides of town, and I just go increasingly long periods of time without seeing him. But then when we see each other, it's like nothing changed.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, how are you?
Yeah, exactly. You're just catching back up and enjoying their company, and nothing is like, no resentment. That's important. Yeah. Kitsune Marie, I think a lot of people don't realize what they're asking of others. It's good that you're shining a little light on it. So Michelle and I think, have actually covered a similar subject to this before. Maybe not even on the podcast, but you've heard me use the terminology being on the take.
A lot.
And being on the take is something that I think we've all done at some point. I think it's very easy for us to get caught up in wanting something from others and not realizing that it still expends energy and effort and time of theirs. But being on the take is generally kind of like a give me. and if you don't do something,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I'm going to hold it against you. And some people have this tendency to sort of do it more than others without, I think, just being conscious of the fact that it requires something else, you know, because I've got the time, why don't you have the time?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's simply not being aware. I don't even think it's malicious oftentimes. I think it's simply an unawareness of what it requires of somebody else to give what you have already.
Yeah.
You know, like I've got time, why don't you have the time?
I've noticed this thing where I see people talk about this on Facebook sometimes, sort of to varying degrees, where like, because a lot of my friends are musicians, and a big one that I see people complain about is like when their friends or people they know don't go to their gigs, and or like say they want to go but then don't, and because you know life happens. Like it's very easy to, but then when they're really busy, if they can't go to things, they don't realize that they're not really any different. I think, like, and that's what. It's this sort of catch-22 that I see a lot of, and I understand the desire for the people in your life to be, you know, to seem like they care about you and to be present and to be supportive in what you feel like you want or need. But if that's not, like, if you recognize that you're too busy to do things, you need to also recognize that other people are going to be too busy to do things.
They may be busy as well.
And that it's not personal. Like, it's not about you. It's about the fact that their life is busy and they're trying to put things together, and it's not a matter of their, like, no one is maliciously saying, like, I specifically don't want to go to Ariel's concert. Screw that girl. Like, nobody's doing that, you know? Like, people are, instead, it's like, oh, I want to go to this thing, but I have 10 other things I have to get done, and I have to prioritize.
Or I may not have the energy.
There you go,
It can be as simple as, you know, I simply don't want to put forth the effort.
Yeah. And it's not personal. Like, I learned that. Like, it is not a reflection of someone's, like, love or care for me or you or anybody either. It's just that, like, sometimes you just can't. And that's
for a variety of reasons.
As though, like, I'm not trying to be insulting by saying that's what adults do, but that's what adults
kind of do. Yeah, it's simply something. It's part of it, and yet learning to be okay with it is good, and to do your thing regardless. You know.
Yeah.
Baby girl says time management is rough for me, but I lost a friend over it. She felt I couldn't give her the undivided time she wanted, and turned out our friendship. I've had that happen as well. Totally. When I realized I was an introvert, I was like, oh, that's why I keep wanting to say no when I actually love these folks and appreciate their invitation. So, the thing is, and we've talked about this, in fact, it was right around the time that you and I had started almost seeing each other, which is almost a year ago, exactly, by the way, was the idea of spoons. And my friend Rebecca was the one who actually handed me this article and said, read this, because I didn't understand what the spoons thing was. And then as I read this article, I understood that basically, for a recap for any of you who have not seen this, it is that every single day we start with a certain amount of spoons. And every time something requires energy or effort from us, we hand it a spoon, maybe 2 spoons, maybe 5 spoons. Also realizing that some days we wake up with 10 spoons, some days we wake up with 20, some days we wake up with 5. And however much energy and expenditures you have for the day can vary from time to time, and people don't necessarily realize how much effort you've already put forth in your day or your week or your month. And you might just be clean out of spoons, and then if they're asking, well, I need like 10 spoons, but you have negative 20 spoons, and then they get mad. The spoon thing is really like...
we both actually are really bad at this. Like, we have this habit of, like, trying to, like, make something work in the moment when you're out of spoons. So like, you like take spoons from the next day.
Or the spoon reserve. It's like overcommitting. Really.
And like by the time, 10 days have passed, you're at such a deficit because you've borrowed, like, it's like taking money out of your future paychecks. But then when the time to have that paycheck happens, when you have zero in your bank, it's like, what happened to me?
Yeah.
How did I get here?
This is not my beautiful wife. This is not my beautiful car.
Like, and so I think that it's like that, like where you it's really easy to just overdo and then there has to be like a recovery time for that. Because I wouldn't consider myself an introvert, but I definitely have like introverted tendencies sometimes. It's like, what do they call it now? Like, it's an ambivert or something where you're both of them, like at some level. Like, this last Sunday, I didn't go with you to game night. Like, I was in such a bad mood, and I was feeling really tired, and I was like, I should not be around people right now. And I just had to like stay in. I couldn't be out with others because I had very negative spoons.
And Marie says, I love the spoon analogy, and it's a fantastic little article. If you search for that, I'm not sure exactly what to search under, but it was handed me by a friend, and a really well written article sort of explaining this spoon thing. Just a really great analogy. Go check that out. And Josh actually says, yeah, that was a hard thing for me to learn. I used to force myself to do things because I thought other people would want it, then I get cranky. No is actually super nice to say up front. And that functionality, I think, is such a vital thing to be able to hand to somebody, because you're giving yourself a boundary for even like that, just that moment in time. And a boundary is the best thing you can actually hand to somebody. It's the most respectful thing you can do for yourself as well as those around you.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly, it's one of the most important and respectful things that you can establish, because a boundary enables you to say, this is my genuine limit. And if I extend myself past my limit, I'm actually not giving myself authentically to you, which is not fair to you or me. And so it's actually a very good concept of saying no. Some people will not understand, some people will still demand, and some people still want, and that's the way of things. And it's you'll sort of like learn how to deal with those people and find out the ones that will require too much of you, and ultimately you might just end up distancing yourself from them.
Yeah.
Which I've had to do. I'm sure you've had to do it plenty of times.
Yeah.
And it's a crummy place to be put in, because I don't want to do that with people. But if people want something that I cannot give, I have to step away.
Yeah, I think
and I learned to do that.
Also, when it comes to, and what's tricky, and I think maybe what Josh might also understand in that position, is when you're a yes person, like both of us and a lot of other people that I know.
Yeah.
It's not just that like you're